think it's like the Deshaun Watson contract that we saw in March was such an earthquake to the league because it was all this guaranteed money and all of it. And he had all of this off the field, controversy, question marks, and just unsavory nature. Meanwhile, you look at Lamar, he's done more as a player. Mm-hmm. He's beloved. He's been nothing but a model citizen. And he comes into the season with this contract situation. And there was a fear around the league, I think, from the ownership side that, oh no, Jimmy Haslam and the Browns just set the market here for young quarterbacks. And every one of them, if you're going to give Deshaun Watson what he's got going on, coming off ACLs and his off-field stuff, all that guaranteed money, every other quarterback is in their right mind saying, I demand that as well. That's the market. You see this contract yesterday, and as much money as it is, for it not to be fully guaranteed, I think that's a win for the Ravens side of this thing, where it's like, that was an outlier. That Deshaun Watson thing was an outlier, that they traded all those first-round picks, and they had to go acquire him. The thing we're going to base it on is more Kyler's contract and now Russell Wilson's contract. So for me, if Lamar's looking to go all in and be all guaranteed, this is a notch in the belt of the negotiation side to the team side. But if I continue to just talk about Lamar as in we know what's going through his head, it would be foolish because truly no one knows what's on the Lamar side of things. He doesn't have a big circle. There isn't a media person to date that has been able to tap into Lamar and be his voice box. And almost refreshingly, there's not leaks and all sorts of sources tell me on this team where every other quarterback is a big-time agent talking to one of the reporters saying, hey, here's what the latest is on that thing. It's kind of cool. It's exciting that we don't know, but for a Ravens fan, it's unsettling. I do think yesterday helped the Ravens team side in that the standard is not a $300 million guaranteed contract.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The contract's huge. And there were, owners and teams were irate when the Browns gave Deshaun Watson not just the size of the contract, but that guaranteed money because it had a ripple effect. I think with Lamar, he's done everything right? He talks about the team. He never talks about himself. I think his leadership is awesome. But I feel like this is the point where I hate what's going on right now with Lamar because it's pitting him against the Baltimore Ravens. And Lamar is Baltimore. Everything about Lamar, he represents Baltimore. They don't root for this kid. They love this kid. And I hate that the business side of it right now is kind of pitting them against each other. All right, hey, Lamar's in the right here. You got to pay him. You got to give him all stuff. Or hey, you know what? You got to take care of the franchise. And you know what? The injuries are a big part of it. I think if you're Baltimore right now, you got to go macro level here and you ran Joe Flacco out of there. You changed your entire offense, your entire belief in how to win football games for Lamar. You changed everything. You've got to go all in with this. And the guaranteed money, that's definitely going to be a sticky point. The language is going to be a part. The injury factor is a big thing. With Russell, the interesting thing was he had 3 years left on his deal, and he added a 4-year extension. So, look, whatever it's going to take, do we have to go 7 years here? I feel like for Lamar to come out and say, look, I'll sign a long-term deal, whatever you need. Because if not, the franchise tag is going to be in play here. And you don't want this, Lamar. You don't want every single year to have to be answering about, well, am I going to play on the tag? Am I going to sign a long-term deal? Ask Kirk Cousins how that works out. For Lamar, find some common ground here and find a way to make it a long-term deal. Lamar, I can't see him in another Baltimore Ravens uniform with the same passion that he has right now.
With another uniform.
Yeah, other than the Ravens,
uniform.
yeah. It's fascinating because of how different Lamar is and how this is set up. What do you think Lamar was doing yesterday when the Russell Wilson news broke? It came out about 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Is he just at the facility? Is he watching Jets film, open with the Jets? And normally, if you're Lamar, you see that news and you call your agent or you call Drew Rosenhaus and you're like, let's go. There is no agent. Do you literally call your mother? Do you talk to a friend? I don't know. But here's what I know. This whole shell game with contracts, it's just based on comps. Much like, real estate. If you watch some of these shows on TV and there's all these mansions and this thing, and this one sells for $20 million, your house, you're not taking a penny less than $20 million because you point out, well, ours has more space and it's got more yards, so we want 25. I think that's all out the door for Lamar. What do I mean by this? Kyler and Deshaun contracts, all right? $46.1 million a year and $46 million a year. If you were Lamar, typically your agent would say it starts at 46.2. 46.2 is the starting point, and that is what agents do, and they do it very well. And there's a lot of them who could do that for Lamar. Here's what's fascinating: Lamar could say, I'm different. I have a different plan for my future. I respect, in a lot of ways, what Tom Brady has done. I want to win Super Bowls. I want to be here for 10 years. I'll take 35. I'll take 30. And everyone would say, oh my God, Lamar, don't do that. You're costing yourself millions of dollars. And he might say, I don't care. I want to get out there and play football for this team, and I want to be able to bring in wide receivers and tight ends and linemen. I don't know what's going to go on with him. He could say 50 million or I'm not playing another down, or he could say 25 million sounds good. I don't have an agent who's checking me. My mother, unless she knows way more about this stuff than I do or any of us do, isn't checking him. So we could get a bomb, and there'll be takes for days about Lamar did himself a disservice, he should have gotten more money. But then maybe Lamar wins a Super Bowl because of it. And I really do think there is substance to that. So we've never known. Normally it comes out, whatever the agent gets is going to be this massive contract. I don't know. I don't know when. I don't know how much. And to Peter's point, no one is talking and no one is leaking. It is this great enigma for one of our most important players.
Is it refreshing or is it frustrating that we don't know?
Depends where you come out. I think it's refreshing, and if he takes less money, I think it's refreshing. But I've heard already players say, what are you doing out there? The ex-players are furious about this. Don't put on pads for the Ravens until you're paid. He's going to. He already said he's going to. Different deal. Wildly different deal.
An agent texted me around this time, and a lot of times I dismiss, like, all right, the criticism, because obviously they're biased. They want to have clients. Right. And said, when Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl, he's now on an Amazon ad, he's on an AT&T ad. You see him now doing stuff for Little Caesars, and Stafford's everywhere. When Mahomes won, he's everywhere. When Lamar Jackson had the greatest single season in NFL history from a quarter, and he didn't get any commercial deals. A lot of that is like, maybe Lamar isn't looking for that.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see Lamar on national ads everywhere. Lamar should be the face of the league. He's not. Mm-hmm. If you want, Baker Mayfield is all over. Why wasn't Lamar? And I think some of that's with the agent, some of that's just with Lamar. Like, that's not what's important to me.
Listen, 4 people at this table, hours of television, 7 networks that have shows on this. I think 172 different contract combinations have been proposed. That, like, maybe this is how the deal gets done. No, maybe this is how the deal gets done. If one of us could come up with a solution, that solution would have been done. I find this wildly concerning, the fact that it has not been accomplished yet. Let's say he does want to take $35 million, and all he says is, but I need it all to be guaranteed for the next 7 years. You don't think that if the Ravens thought that that was a deal for them, they would have snatched that up already? There is something amuck here. Something is missing. The bridge between the two, between team and quarterback, is, and maybe that bridge is representation. And frankly, if you do the math, more power to him. If that is pretty much what he would take home anyways, if he was to get $47 million, he'd probably take home $35 million, let's be honest. So, like, if you're going to land at 35, great, make the argument that is guaranteed. But if somebody hasn't come up with the idea already and it was presented at the table and the two couldn't come to terms with it, it is 8 days until the Ravens play a game. 8 days. I don't see this thing getting done. And frankly, the closer we get to it, I think the more pissed off Lamar Jackson might get about the fact that this couldn't get done because of everything everyone says about him. He is the guy. We changed our offense for you. You are everything that Baltimore means and the nature of Charm City. And you're not going to pay me? You're not going to sign me to this? If I were him, I'd get even more pissed off that this job isn't done, or this contract isn't done yet. So
we haven't seen that from him. He hasn't stomped his foot. He hasn't done the
But why would he in public?
Tweet.
He doesn't do anything else in public.
I know.
Why would he do that in public? He hasn't shown his hand in any direction. He's kept his cool. And fine, you want to franchise tag me? Fine. It's, you know, Kirk Cousins get killed, but he's made bank.
A lot of money.
He's made a lot of money.
And another team did eventually pay him.
Exactly. And so, you know, it is. I could find, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there probably is another team that could make their whole team surrounding Lamar Jackson that probably would pay him.
He's doing all the right things for his brand.
Yes.
He just needs help selling it.
Does he though?
No.
I don't know if he needs any help. He might be in control.
Especially as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Look, Russell Okung's done his own deal. Richard Sherman's did his own deal. Quarterback deals are different. Right? There are so many different wrinkles. You win a playoff game, you get bonus this, incentives. I mean, out the wazoo. Like there are quarterbacks that work into it that they get suites for home games. Like work into all the marketing stuff. Like, I mean, it takes weeks to go through it if that's what you do. Like, if that's not what you do, like now you got to vet that process. Like, to your point, 8 days is not enough time.
It's frustrating, it's complicated, it's incredible, whatever you think of it, it's fascinating to watch.